Hello, friends and allies. Michael Thompson here. You know, everyone needs a good coach in their corner, someone who believes in you and pushes you, challenges you, and calls you out to be the best that you can be. In truth, we need several of these kind of people throughout our lives. And when you find even just one or a few, especially those who are willing to walk with you through the different chapters of your story, you've been given a real gift. I found one of those men, or maybe I should say he found me a few years ago, in a gifted publishing editor named Bob Hardig. After the release of my book, King Me, Bob and I sat down for a conversation about the creative process of writing and what it looks like to collaborate on a project like this and what we both experienced along the way. The conversation was recorded, and we wanted to share it with you here on the Exploring More podcast. Bob has become more than an editor to me. He's become a dear friend. He first worked with me on The Heart of a Warrior back in 2016 and then came alongside me again for King Me. His care for words, attention to detail, and belief in the message have made every part of this journey richer and more meaningful. And he made me a better writer. Bob lives in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is home to some of the largest Christian publishers in the country, including Zondervan and Thomas Nelson. He spent years on staff with Zondervan, first as a copywriter and then stepping into the role of editor. When we connected, it wasn't because I had some impressive publishing record, because I didn't. It was because Bob was willing to partner with an aspiring author, take a chance, and walk with me through the writing process. And that journey has shaped me profoundly, and I'll be forever grateful. So today, I invite you to join me in this special edition of the Exploring More podcast as I sit down with my friend, my editor, and one of the best coaches I've had in my corner, Bob Hardig. Enjoy the conversation.
With God, there is always more. More love, more life, more freedom. Welcome to Zoe's Exploring More with Michael Thompson. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "Our Heavenly Father has provided many delightful inns for us along our journey, but He takes great care to see that we do not mistake any of them for home." Join me and the team as we explore the kingdom together, discovering the deep truths and offering encouragement for the journey. There is always more.
Hey, Michael Thompson here, and I'm with my good friend, Bob Hardig. So this is our author-editor interview, and thought we'd just take some time to, just share a little bit about our creative process and our engagement in King Me. And actually, I would love to even hear you talk about how we met, how this process, friendship really began, working relationship that kind of grafted into so much more, Bob. Yeah, how do you remember we met?
Well, comes out to Kevin Miles, to a friend of ours called Kevin, and Kevin had worked on your first book, Search and Rescue,
right.
And then he told me about you and engaged me. I'd done some work for him prior in editing and proofreading for Heart and Life Publishing, which was his thing at the time.
Yep.
And then so he called me on board for Heart of a Warrior, and we got to know each other. You and I worked on that project, and I got to know you. And I think the thing that was important to me, that struck me first, was that my heart resonated with where you were coming from, with our identity in Christ, with what it means to be a beloved son, because I know that message is not well understood in Christendom, to the detriment of a lot of people who get caught up in a performance cycle and jumping through hoops with God.
Right.
And man, I know what that's like. Right. Until the Lord came along at a time in my life and showed me what it means to be a son of God and to have an identity in Christ And so when you came along with this concept of before you can become the warrior, you must become the beloved son. I thought, yeah, man, that's where I'm at.
Yeah.
And I think we talked a little bit. It's been a while. It's been a few years.
Oh man,
now.
that was probably 2013, 14 probably, because Heart of Warrior came out in late 15, so we walked at least a year in that book, and I remember it was a different editor for Search and Rescue, and that was good. I mean, that was my first book, but I think a lot of artists have, or authors, in this creative process, they have it's like the songs that they write represent the journey that they're on. I have some bands I like U2, and you see the progression of their work and how that's reflected in their songs. Sting, is another one that I like. And so just this, and that's true I think for authors, or at least for this author, it's been Search and Rescue was a part of my story, and then Heart of a Warrior was another part of my story, and that you helped me craft. And I remember, Bob, one of the times we're working, and it's typically, chapter to chapter, and sometimes there's wrestling matches, and sometimes there's harmony, really, in it all. And I really do. I want to go on record as I'm not a great writer, but I have a heart for story and telling a story of discovery. You're a great writer. You've helped me become a better writer. I know I still have comma splice problems and run-on sentences, and
a few issues,
and it's fun. It's fun to as we do this creative process together. I feel like sometimes I'm back in kindergarten, and the irony of it is we're writing a book about the masculine journey.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm back in kindergarten, and sometimes that Word document, when it comes back to me from you, I'm being graded, I'm being evaluated, and not judged.
Oh, gosh.
But it's being, but you know what I mean? That's that process where I'm hoping I'm gonna get a smiley face over here in the margin here and there. And when you do, here comes that validation, like, well done, Michael. This is strong.
Good.
This is good. And then there's those other like, Michael, exclamation point, So just talk a little bit about our creative process. I'm kind of putting that out there and saying that evolving as a beloved son, as a king, and writing about the masculine journey, and here we are with King Me, and looking at the song that's mine to write and sing. I know you're a musician, so this plays right into the metaphor, right? But yet you're helping me compose some of the notes on the page, some of the paragraphs and sentences. But just I'd like to hear what you have to say about how we work together.
Let me just start by saying that this process for me has been a real blessing, that you have entrusted me with the message and the thing that God has placed in your heart that burns there, and I know it burns there, and you called me into that. For me, as for you, this has been a challenge, and the challenge is a good challenge. You have initiated me. You have initiated me into something. This has not been an edit, just an edit. This has been something that has evolved into something far more than that. And I think we both stepped into it, not really knowing what we were getting into, knowing that there was something there that we were going to work with together on. So I had kind of certain expectations of like what it might be as an editor, as a book edit, but also knowing you and having worked with you on Heart of a Warrior, and then watching how the whole thing evolved. And you called me up beyond an editor into a coaching role. I remember you began calling me coach. And
when I'd call you and you'd say, hey, Michael, I'd say, hey, coach. That started on this project. It did.
One time you told me, you said, you're my Yoda. And I thought, oh my gosh, man, you're my Yoda, right? So I guess we get to be each other's Yoda. But it works both ways, and Yeah, I mean, there have been the organizational concerns that I've had with the book. There have been matters of redundancy, of cleaning up grammar, of working with the stuff that an editor works with.
Yeah.
That's what I do. But there has also been that concern of, I know Michael wants to write more, and that there's more that's coming out of Michael. And what more do I need to step into that goes beyond an editor into helping you to be a better writer, even as you help me to grow in confidence in what God has called me into, because I face my own challenges, just as a person and as a man.
Right.
The stuff that I've wrestled with that I know you've seen, that, and can see in me, and the healing that I myself need and have needed and come into as I go along this journey, it's far more than a professional thing.
Yeah.
And it's and in the process, as we've talked about more than book.
Yeah. Agreed.
So we've developed a relationship, and it's been an unusual thing to develop a long distance friendship.
Yeah.
But we've been drinking coffee together, if you want to put it that way.
Yeah.
Over the book. And I don't know if I'm answering all your questions.
No, I think about you are, and I think about, you just don't know, until you look back at a journey, how we got here, how, and so, yes, Kevin Miles, we're indebted to, you introduced us, bro, thank you. He had no idea, because there's a project that needs working on, there's a problem that needs solving, there's something that needs to be built. And so, we're thrown together in that process. And then along the way, something happened, friendship, connectedness. I remember a couple stories, but I'll just tell you one. I remember being in the Dallas airport on my way to a conference to speak, and we're talking, and you said, Michael, can I talk to you about something? Which is always one of my least favorite and yet often most important beginnings of a sentence, right? Because you just feel like, what did I do? What did I do wrong, right? And you said to me, you said, there's times in your writing that it feels like to me you're trying to prove that you know what you're talking about in a way that you won't be questioned. And so there's a lot of kind of these theological and biblical, and here's the analogy you said. You said, it's like I'm driving on the Pacific Coast Highway, and then all of a sudden I'm downtown, and I have to stop at all these stoplights. I remember where I was when you shared that observation, that goodness with me, and it took me to, I knew you were right, but I didn't know why I was writing that way. And it took me to God, and it took me into some healing spaces of, how we feel shamed as a boy when you don't know the answer, or when you answer wrong and somebody doesn't handle your heart well. So you come into this practice of, I will do things in such a way that I will not be questioned, or I will not be objected to. I will show, I will prove. And it was in my writing. That was what was amazing, is that here we are writing about these things, and you see something that you were kind enough and courageous enough to say, not critically, but very kindly say, can I talk to you about something? Very, very, very powerful favor, very kind.
One of the things that I really, really valued about you, Michael, and this is a part of your character, is you were so intreatable. I mean, it's incredible, because I have a hard time offering critique. That's a scary thing for me. I mean, it's like, for crying out loud.
The word's scary. Critique, right?
It's scary to receive, I'm sure. It's scary to get. I don't know how it's going to be received with different people, but that's part of my job.
Yeah.
It comes with the role if I'm going to help anyone improve, and a lot of it is just simply subjective too. I know that. It's my opinion. I would consider it a seasoned opinion, but it's still an opinion, and you can. I mean, you have that space to to push back, on things, and so we have those conversations. But my heart has been, to be truthful and to be gentle, and also because I know it's in your heart, man. I see that. I see that that really, really good thing in you that wants to learn. And there's a thing in my own head that says, who am I to even help with that? Because that's the crap, that I deal with, that I've had to face in my life. But and that you have helped me with. But I've been amazed at times with, I get back a manuscript and I offer critique here and I offer critique there, because basic what you get a lot of from me is like critique. It's like I accept the stuff, the redlining, you get the redlining and you send back, your corrections and things, and I look at it and say, this looks fine, accept. There's no comment with that, right? You hear from me when, the stuff, I'm saying, okay, maybe not here, but I think and try to also say, this is good. This is right on, good change, attaboy. Give you some of those gold stars because you merit those.
Yeah, you said that. You said that to me, gold star here, and that's what I mean about kindergarten. Or just that young part of me, has a coach that's saying, well done, and when it's not well done, we keep working. It cracks me up I think there's probably at least 30 or 40 words in King Me that we talked about for at least 30 minutes each one, about, is this the word? Is this what we want the reader to feel? This one feels a little harsh, this one feels a little heavy, or this one feels... It's just been really interesting to see you enter that process with me, and I feel like being subject to somebody who knows more and entering into that place too where you're willing to be edited. I can't say there's a whole lot of other places in my life that I am as willing, but I want to be. And that's what the Spirit is really up to. He wants to bring some of those edits. And is that the word? Is that the way? How could you have handled that differently? You weren't wrong, but Michael, that wasn't the right way to do it. Things like that. So anyway, I've loved the dance, and I feel like, the sparring that has come. And I'd love to just kind of wrap some of this up with, what are you excited about with King Me?
Well, can I interject just a comment on top of that?
See, you're editing now. You're just editing the interview. That's awesome. Go ahead. Go ahead.
And I'm not sure, maybe I...
No, you go.
I may have lost the track of thought on that now. I know it was this, that part of the challenge for me as an editor has been, you've got your voice. You have your way of saying things. Now, I have my way of saying things as a writer, and part of my goal has been to look at things and go, I think Michael's gotten in trouble here, but to not impose my voice unduly upon you. I think that to some extent there's some tangles that just require me to just jump in there, but then to give you the room to come on in and say, okay, this is good, but this isn't me. And to work with that, and it has been work. We both worked through that, but that process of we both challenged each other on that. So for me, part of it is to get in there and help you speak your message and have your voice, not obstruct things, but to clarify your voice. And also to be, very frank when things just aren't working. Both ways, and so it's you've challenged me in that way.
It's an amazing process. And back to King Me, I think about, what we're excited about, what we're hopeful for. And you said to me the other day, you said it's so interesting to be in it so deeply.
Yeah.
And then just recently to come out of it and just read it.
Yeah.
And how different that even feels, I agree with you. It's an odd thing to be in it with, these conversations about phrases and paragraphs and sentences and thought. And one of the things I love about your way, Bob, is that you always help me see the reader. You always represent the reader in our writing. And I love that because I want them to get it so badly. I want them to get intimacy with God, not just the concept. I want them to get the reality that that's what they're made for. And so, the way we craft and shade things together, the way you help me do that. But now, as we come to the end and here it's going to be presented, given, offered, and what are you excited about in the book, in the project?
I'm excited about the awakening of hearts that this book has the potential, that I don't even want to use the word potential. I'm confident that this book will touch hearts and it will show hearts the goodness of God and who we truly are. And it will guide men through the various stages so that they can look back at their lives and say, here's where I got hurt in these various different ways, starting with the very essence of belovedness as a son that they got or they didn't get.
Right.
The injuries, the wounds that took place in those places and beyond through life, and that continue, and how to then heal from those wounds, how to identify the wounds, and how intimacy with the Father, whether directly through the Holy Spirit, through prayer, through experiences, but that experiential and intimacy with the Father, or through brothers.
Yeah.
Brothers like you, brothers like all around us, that oriented brothers who know a thing or two, can help us to see more clearly what the Father's heart is toward us so that we can heal.
Yeah.
And then out of that healing and increasing wholeness, because we're all on that journey, be able to give more and more in our kingdom through our sphere of influence to love others more effectively, to love others more meaningfully, to give out of the overflow of being loved, to give that love itself. So I'm excited about just how far this is going to go, Michael.
Yeah, me too.
I appreciate you, and I thank you for bringing me into this.
You're welcome, man. You're a delight. You're good for my heart, and thank you for taking some time. I think we should just arm wrestle one time over the last the ending of the book. We're just gonna.
You think? Okay.
Okay, that's funny. I'm pulling my arm down and he's pulling me arm down. That's you. You want me to win and I want you to win. That is so good.
It works.
So thank you, bro, for being
Thanks,
here,
Michael.
and being with me and taking this journey with me. I love you.
Yeah, I love you too, brother. Man, it has been a pleasure.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You bet.
We hope you have enjoyed this episode of Exploring More. The landing page for this podcast is zoe.org/podcast. That's ZOWEH.org/podcast, where you can find the show notes and various platforms to which we broadcast. You can also find us and the Life of More by visiting Zoe on YouVersion Bible app, Right Now Media, our Facebook page, and Zoe on Instagram and Twitter. Remember, with God there is always more, and you were made for more.